戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is April 1st, 2026. We're live to tape on episode 928. And today, World War Fool's Day. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. I'm also the author of Archetypalism. Live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. Time for Canary Crime News Talk. Yeehaw!
And yes, it's April Fool's Day, but also today is the anniversary of Able, A-B-L-E, Able. Back in 1952, it was a nuclear explosion test at the Nevada test site, Area 5. We're used to Area 51, but this was on Area 5, and it was a big explosion. And they figured out that big nuclear bombs go boom.
It's a good joke. It's a good joke. April Fools. Nuclear bombs don't exist. What's up? I don't know, everybody. You know, it'd be a really funny joke that everybody could play on April Fool's Day. If anybody's looking for inspiration, because of course it gets harder and harder to fool your loved ones or random people on the internet. It's not easy to do. The world is so crazy that everything becomes believable. Be a really, really funny joke if everybody right now hit the like button on this stream or the video and shared it. You know, press the share button and share.
Oh yeah, you have immunity. You have plausible deniability to share the show with anybody today. You know, you share it with a person that
funnier
would just hate the show. You know, it'll be funny. Hey,
even funnier if you're watching this and you haven't done it yet, you should subscribe. That would be so hilarious if you subscribe to the channel and you turned on notifications, you hit that bell button. Oh my gosh, that would be such a good one. You should do it. If you're looking for something funny to do, that's what you should do today.
I promise.
Really get everybody.
I promise your computer will not go boom like it did at Operation Tumblr Snapper.
We promise. We promise. We promise that a little confetti bomb won't explode in your computer and cover your whole office with confetti. It won't happen, April Fools.
Yeah. Hey, before we jump into anything, I'm going to call upon the producers real quick.
Okay.
Producers, assemble!
Not a joke. Producers are up world.
What's that? Oh, yes,
I
yes.
said
Pray
not a
Jesus.
joke. Very serious.
Oh, yeah. Your audio is very quiet and kind of gargly today for me. Yeah, I just wanted to ask for prayer for, I think, everybody out there. For some reason, I have experienced a lot of edginess this week. Like, everybody's on edge. You yelled at me before the show. There's other people yelling at me all week. It's like, what is going on? I feel like anxiety is high. I don't know what's happening, but just for the peace that surpasses all understanding to kind of permeate everyone's lives. Who's tapping into the show. I mean, not just you, Basil. This is you were kind of the cherry on top today, but other people have been very hostile towards myself, and that includes family and children and church people. And yeah, I mean, it's been kind of those weeks.
We should also pray for all of us to let the Lord bring to our awareness the things that we could be saying or doing that might cause someone to lose their
yeah, okay, that's fine. That's okay. That's okay. I'll admit that I did not use the proper words, or maybe whatever it was.
Another good reason to pray for understanding about why we might be inviting certain responses from everybody in our life. But yes, very good. Well, it's interesting around this time because it is Holy Week. I don't remember if we mentioned this on Monday. It is Holy Week, which means we're at the end of Lent, and we're not necessarily big old Catholics around here, but I don't think Lent is necessarily just a Catholic thing, although they have quite the
stronghold
structure, the protocols for Lent. But it is pretty well known that Lent is a time where we are remembering and celebrating the days that Jesus spent in the wilderness, lacking all sorts of creature comforts and sustenance of the material kind. And so we choose to deprive ourselves of certain things in remembrance with that. But it's also one of these times during the year where, the spiritual warfare is popping off across the board. And so things tend to get a little bit tougher during Lent, and they tend to get a little tougher in the sort of invisible ways. I mean, of course, there's wars and aliens and, inflation and all this.
That hasn't really helped, by the way, in the 40 days of Lent. I think people are fed up with everything right now. And coming to the end of the week,
let's not let those sort of material or obvious things obstruct from the fact that oftentimes the spiritual warfare gets more difficult during Lent, and that's for very good reason. The enemy's very upset, he's very annoyed that his visiting of Jesus Christ in the desert at his moment of weakness did not go as planned, and he was not able to affect eternity in the way that he had hoped. So yes, to everybody out there having a little bit tougher time during Lent, just remember that it's all part of the plan. The spiritual warfare is popping off, and it is good also for the rest of us to remember this is the case, so that we may have what could only be described as supernatural patience with people who, might be experiencing a little bit of that spiritual warfare. So there you go. Shout out to everybody.
It's been an interesting week in that regard in the personal life there. But just as a heads up, jokes on everybody. The Artemis 2 is about to launch. It's probably going to, it's supposed to launch while we're live today. So we'll kind of keep tabs on it, and we'll see if they actually launch or
should be in about an hour and a half. That's the schedule is in about an hour and a half from now.
Right. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll report on it when it happens there. But just a heads up. There's an hour and 16. There's a countdown, Basil. There's people out. This is like the movie Apollo 13.
A countdown for a rocket launch?
Yeah. I haven't seen one of those in a long time.
Okay. So let's jump into it here. We got a lot of stuff going on. This is a really fun April Fool's Day. Not because there's fun jokes going on, but we're experiencing in the broader news cycle, the broader narrative PSYOPs, the broader social engineering projects, it's really a kind of a crazy full circle day. And of course, that's up to every single one of us to try to discern. And this is the tough part. And this has always been the problem with April Fools, is to have the discernment, the spiritual sensitivity to decide if something in real time is an April Fool's joke or is not an April Fool's joke. In fact, this might even be considered like the broader meta of April Fools, is you kind of constantly have to be on guard of, is something an April Fool's or is it not an April Fool's? Because of course, sometimes somebody says something or does something and that's an April Fool's joke. But on the other side of that coin, somebody maybe says or does something, we make the conclusion, we come to the conclusion that it is an April Fool's joke, so we don't take it seriously. But in reality, it's the perfect time to veil the truth in the sort of illusion that is April Fool's Day. So this is the project. This is the project every April Fools. I don't think it is, I guess, too abstract that April Fools appears at the end of Lent after, several weeks of spiritual warfare, or in our case, actual warfare in the Middle East. But one of the full circle things coming around, we should get the Jan, what's her name? Circle back gal, Jen Psaki.
Jen Psaki, circle back. Okay,
yeah. We got some circling back to do, and one of the big circle backs that we're seeing is a circle back down to lockdowns. Lockdown 2.0.
Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. Circle back, but I'll have to circle back. I'm happy to circle back. I'll have to just circle back with you. We can circle back on that one. Circle back with you. It's an interesting question, but we'll circle back.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Interesting enough, Jen Psaki and Circle Back, a phenomenon of the COVID lockdown era. And here we are. If you remember, we all remember the COVID lockdown era. And back then, there was much fewer conspiracy theorists or sort of people like us. But one of the quite obvious things to those with the discernment was to say, this isn't the last time we're going to see this. Lockdowns are coming back. This is a dry run. This is a practice run. This is something that they love and benefit from in so many different ways. And, get used to it. Stay vigilant as to the different ways that this lockdown idea will come back around. Now, interestingly enough, when it comes to Iran, the war in Iran, a couple weeks ago, we heard, or at the beginning of the war, Trump told us that the war was only going to take 4 or 5 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing that occurred to everybody who was 6 years old or older was, sure, 2 weeks to flatten the spread. 2 weeks.
Flatten the curve.
Flatten the curve.
Okay. Yeah.
Lockdowns are just for 2 weeks and then we'll be over. And so when Trump comes out, says, don't worry, the war is only 4 or 5 weeks. Okay, all right, sure, whatever you say. Well, just today, or maybe it was yesterday, Trump did say we are on week 4 right now?
Yeah.
I think we're on week 4. So according to the earliest estimates of the Iran war, we should be wrapping it up. Okay, we should be pretty close. Well, Trump said in an interview or a reporter pool, I guess, yesterday that, hey, only 2 to 3 more weeks. Okay, only 2 to 3 more weeks in Iran. Don't worry, we're flattening the curve.
Is that why we're sending in more troops? And he's the Trump, I don't know, headline or sayings during this entire period have been a whiplash. We won the war. The war's over pretty much. We've annihilated them. We've destroyed them. We're going to blow them to the Stone Ages. I mean, it's like, have we blown them up or not? Are we done or not? we're not going to send in troops, but we're sending troops. I mean, it's just been,
Don't worry, Gon.
it's been the fog of war, you know.
2 to
It's
3 more
just
weeks,
confusion.
Gon. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Just
2
2
to
to
3
3
more
more
weeks.
weeks. We'll wrap
But
it up.
also, VP said it's going to be until September. You know, the last time we've gotten messages like this, even before COVID, in the context of a Middle East conflict, I mean, we were there for 20 years, so I hope it's not 20 years.
Don't worry, everything's gonna be fine. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're getting these replays of, you know, admittedly these kind of singular themes or memes being repeated from the previous lockdown, the previous global crisis of
Mm-hmm.
COVID. And for those with eyes to see, these things start sticking out like a sore thumb. Well, last week, another one of these sore thumbs started sticking out that sort of quietly was under the radar. I mean, some people noticed, but it wasn't a big topic. And that is the report from the IEA, the International Energy Agency. Now, you can think of the IEA as sort of the WHO of energy, where the WHO, World Health Organization, international health, you know, kind of interdisciplinary, international, I don't know, control agency, NWO control agency. Well, IEA is like that, except for energy, oil, electricity, things like this. Dailymail, of course, bringing all the conspiracy theory hits these days, has a headline: Emergency Playbook for Worldwide Crisis quietly released. Quote, get ready for Lockdown 2.0. Dun, dun, dun. And, you know, around the first lockdowns, everybody had a theory about all the different ways that lockdowns could show themselves. Famously, the sort of climate lockdowns, you know, the weather's bad, so everybody has to stay home. There are several different theories on how these could rear their heads. But let's see what the IEA has to say. Daily Mail says, the quiet release of an emergency energy playbook has sparked global concern, with some warning to get ready for lockdown 2.0 if fuel shortages worsen. The guidance comes from the International Energy Agency, IEA, which last week released its report, quote, sheltering from oil shocks. Even that shelter in place kind of language, it's just too perfect. Outlining 10 steps countries could take if supplies tighten. The report was issued in response to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, which has all but choked off traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil routes, triggering fears of prolonged shortages and soaring fuel prices. Now, just a heads up, this article was published March 24th, so about exactly a week ago. Among the recommendations are expanding remote work where possible, reducing highway speed limits, and cutting back on air travel to limit strain on global supplies. So remote work, of course, something very familiar. Cutting back on air travel, I mean, we just had the past couple weeks of really bizarre sort of air travel shenanigans with TSA, etc.
Yeah.
But in this case, slowing highway speed limits, that's an interesting one. I mean, that's some just real psychological warfare, if anything else. The IEA also suggests shifting travel from private cars to public transportation and restricting vehicle access in major cities on alternating days based on license plates. If further proposed increasing carpooling, adopting fuel-efficient driving practices, and diverting liquefied petroleum gas away from vehicles to preserve supplies for essential uses. So interesting how the oil shock lockdown really shares a lot in common with the, theorized climate lockdowns. You know, it's just like they changed the name of it.
Right. It's just an energy crisis instead of a climate crisis. And I know we're going to get to some of the world leaders who addressed their nations, one, you know, Australia and also Starmer in the UK. But both of their addresses, and Trump has his address tonight, this was a big part of the message. It was, we're entering an energy crisis. The next few months are going to be tough. hey, if you can carpool, if you can take public transportation, do that instead. Don't take private cars as much as possible. So yeah, it's straight out of the playbook, all the stuff
And it's
that
happening
the
across
leaders
the
are saying.
world too. There's a whole
Yeah.
host of countries who are implementing a lot of these things. Just a week later, you've got the Philippines, South Korea. There's this whole like 10, 20 country list of countries who have announced that these kinds of recommendations are being put into place either immediately or soon.
I was just looking up something because it occurred to me, we're talking about this Artemis thing. How much fuel is burned to launch a rocket into space, quote unquote?
Oh yeah. Yeah, well,
I'm just thinking, like they're telling us all to lock down, stop using fuel, like stock up on oil, whatever, and then they're doing like one of the biggest burns of fuel that you can possibly do.
I
with
suppose
a
liquid
rocket launcher.
oxygen. Liquid
Is it
oxygen
liquid oxygen?
might
Okay,
not
so
be
not
on
the
the
thing.
list of Strait of Hormuz thingies.
Okay.
And it goes into many, many more details. It's very in-depth, getting into the specifics of how many people can be in a car. I mean, again, reducing the number of people who can whatever do this or that or be somewhere or travel somewhere. And it goes all the way down to heavy freight trucks as well. Well, that's what they call them, heavy freight trucks. In America, we call them trucks. So the trucking, shipping, transportation, it really touches all the most critical parts of the economy that makes things just doable, and there's a very interesting I guess comparison as well to a sort of secret enforcement to 15-minute cities,
Mhm. Yeah.
making cutting you off to the amount of you can travel away from your house, make you walk places. Oh, if only we had these 15-minute cities, then everybody would have a blast. And this is done as always, much like the World Health Organization claims now, although we all know the discrepancies between what agencies or people or Fauci claimed they, quote, recommended or forced or whatever, of course, in hindsight, it was all, no, we never said you couldn't go to your grandma's funeral. We were just making recommendations that you'd get arrested for, having a worship service or something. We didn't force anybody to do anything.
It's interesting. The article mentions, of course, prepare accordingly. Households are urged to prepare for potential cooking fuel shortages by switching to electric or alternative cooking methods. So it's like the electric car thing too. It's like, hey, just switch to electric.
Yeah, well, that was a big detail for Europe. They just went through this multi-year battle where they were trying to ban gas stoves. This also happened. This was a topic of conversation in the first Trump administration and early Biden administration, banning cooking stoves, things like this. And it's all in there. I mean, everything from the lockdown, I guess, playbook, the first time around is included in this second or lockdown 2.0, but it's just, put with different language and for different reasonings. Well, this happened last week, sort of quietly floated around for 7 days. And yesterday rather, March 31st. And, it's interesting. March 31st is the date that shows up on a lot of things for this show. So, the whole like April Fool's vibe, maybe they tried to avoid it or something, but it'll show up a couple times throughout the show. The March 31st versus April 1st. And then, how time zones work,
right? The Westerners not realizing that a lot of the Eastern nations and states are already in April 1st, so they get to tell the joke, and the joke it goes over the heads of the Westerners. We don't even realize that we're being played with. Yeah.
Politico reports top Brussels official urges Europeans to work from home and drive less. The European Commission has urged people to work from home, drive and fly less, and for EU countries to urgently roll out renewables, of course, as it warned of a prolonged energy crisis as a result of the conflict in the Gulf. And so it's always been a curiosity, of course, or a topic of conspiracy theorizing, like what's the real reason for the war in Iran, right? Is it because of Epstein? Is it because of nukes? Is it because of Silk Road or the Belt and Road Initiative? Is it because of cutting off supplies to China? Is it this? Is it that? Well, we can add another thing to the list, and that is the catalyst for lockdown 2.0. So we can the idea that Earth is running out of fossil fuels wasn't as I guess urgent or immediate as they wanted us to think. So you needed a reason to cut everything off. In a speech with echoes of the early, this is Politico, by the way. Politico says the European Commission has urged people to work from home, drive and fly less, and for EU countries to urgently roll out renewables, as it warned of a prolonged energy crisis as a result of the conflict in the Gulf. In a speech with echoes of the early days of the coronavirus pandemic, EU energy chief Dan Jorgensen said Europe was facing, quote, a very serious situation with no clear end in sight. So this is not just the Dailymail making this, kind of conspiratorial connection. It's not just crazies on X making this connection. Politico, the magazine that is read by all the politicians in Washington, is drawing a direct connection between this situation and the COVID pandemic lockdowns. So this is not just a sort of side dish PSYOP, if that isn't in fact what it is.
Side dish PSYOP. I like
not
that.
a side dish PSYOP.
Just a little, not the main course. This is the main course. Okay.
Yeah.
This is steak. Yeah.
Even when Politico is taking their second sentence of their article to draw a direct connection, they really want people to draw this connection. And this is part of the April 1st, kind of discernment, the PSYOP, the double flippy reverse PSYOP. What's going on here? Because it's one thing for the message to go out in, podcasto circles that this is like COVID lockdowns. It's another thing for Politico to make that connection in sentence two. Just a little bit more here. Quote, even if, and this is key, even if peace is here tomorrow, still, we will not go back to normal in the foreseeable future, he said.
Well, why not? What do you mean? If peace is here tomorrow, what do you mean we're not going back to? What are you saying?
It's unavoidable. There's nothing you can do about it. Even if Trump ends the war tonight, even if he gets up, makes a big speech, takes up every news channel in America and says the war is over. Even if that happens, we're still having these lockdowns, he says. Following an extraordinary meeting of the EU's 27 energy ministers on Tuesday to discuss the crisis. Quote, the more you can do to save oil, especially diesel, especially jet fuel, the better we are off, Jorgensen said, confirming an earlier report by Politico that Brussels wanted Europeans to travel less. I mean, if all of this doesn't fit just so snugly, like a perfect little jigsaw piece into what used to be sort of fringe theories about what the elites want and how they want us to behave or police ourselves, it's just too perfect. It's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it all unfolds, but it does feel like a major energy infrastructure play. Much like with COVID, we got sort of the exposure of, I don't know, inefficiencies, or some people might say outright corruption of the medical industrial complex and big pharma and all these things. They came to the forefront. Where is the corruption that gets exposed with this? Is this just energy efficiency? Is this the final collapse of the ESG climate change kind of regime that I believe that even BlackRock's CEO Larry Fink came out last week and said, like, oh yeah, the whole woke thing with ESG and all that was an experiment that failed. So is this that? Are we getting ready for
the energy talk? All of that was, I mean, in our, at least in my opinion, and in many people's view of it, all the renewable talk, all the Green New Deal, all that stuff was just a narrative for controlling behavior. It's not even about the energy, really. It's not even just about any of this. That's just the smoke screen to make sure we don't leave our homes. We live in the pod. We eat the bugs. We do what we're told, right? Yeah. So that's why you see the same essential message delivered. Doesn't matter what the reasoning is. It's all the same essential message. Now, again, just to hammer it home, says his comments come as fears grow that the world faces a major energy crisis exceeding even the 1970s oil shock that could have global economic ramifications comparable to the coronavirus pandemic. Blah, blah. So there you go. This is a clear message that they at least want the obvious narrative to be for the broad public, for the politicians. The official narrative is get ready to act like it's coronavirus again, just with different reasons. That's what we're trying to do.
The energy thing is pretty intense too, though, because with COVID, it was like, yeah, you might get a virus, you might not, you might get a cold, you might get a flu. It was very nebulous. With energy, it's like, hey, you won't be able to drive. You won't be able to cook your food.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more of a
tangible sort of reasoning. It doesn't leave any room for like vaccine hesitancy. It doesn't leave any room for questioning the science. It doesn't leave any room for these pesky podcasters to pick the narrative apart. No, it's much more sort of concrete, straightforward, hard to develop a counter narrative. Because if the oil's there or not, you can't theorize that the oil is at the gas station, but you just can't get it. There's a much more difficult counter narrative crafting to that.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Go ahead. I'm
just for fun, let's play this clip here. Just a taste of the kind of online X conspiracy theories going around. This is the reporting everybody's got up in arms. Not the official reporting, but the fringe weirdo reporting.
The TikTok reporting. We've been reduced to TikTok reporting.
Yeah, be scared. Be very afraid.
Okay, here we go.
Oops, no audio.
Oh, hold on. Wait, is it playing the video though?
Yep, playing the video, not the audio.
Oh, great. It's doing that thing again.
It's
really needs to figure out their bug. Whatever the bug is that allows me not to play these things. I need to figure it out. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
So many people did not believe me when I said we might go into a lockdown due to the situation in Iran, but now I've got proof. Check this out.
Is bringing state and territory leaders together again to finally find an answer to the fuel crisis. Some drastic measures similar to the days of COVID could be on the table as the government braces for a worst-case scenario.
Questions fly about fuel supply.
The anxiety levels are as high as I've seen, maybe with some even higher than COVID.
The further measures they will consider based on the International Energy Agency's plan, encouraging 3 days work from home, 10 kilometres per hour lower speed limits, encouraging public transport and carpooling, and odd and evens number plate days in cities.
We are on the 1 yard line of this whole situation. This is like February of 2020, right before we went into lockdowns in March when the whole COVID disaster happened. You need to be prepared. I would start stocking up on things before things start running out or going up in price to the point where they are unaffordable.
Okay, there you go.
Again, playing some of the clips, the direct connection being drawn by the politicians with COVID. It's that trigger. It's like the 9/11 trigger, right? The trauma, the shared trauma, the trigger situation. And it's funny because, this guy, I told you, nobody believed me. I'm a very smart conspiracy theorist. It's interesting. It occurs to me that the message from the ex, indie TikTok guy is, I knew this was coming. I told you. I have the eyes to see. I cracked the code and told you this was coming. But it's just the exact message coming from Politico. Just the exact messaging coming from politicians, right? So it doesn't take a conspiracy theorist to come to this conclusion. Another clip that a lot of people are sharing, kind of one of the main ones, is this ShannonJoy clip here. It's a little bit longer, but you'll see, you can just hear from the tone. I'm a conspiracy theorist. I've cracked the code. I'm telling you this secret message they don't want you to hear.
Everything's falling apart. And he just published Lockdowns 2.0, an energy lockdown playbook. They released a 10-point plan over the weekend telling governments to restrict driving, ground flights, force remote work, and ban gas cooking. They called it sheltering from oil shocks, writes Aaron Day. Here's the plan. Number one, they are recommending alternating driving days based on your license plate number, odd plates on Monday, even plates on Tuesday, and countries are now already implementing this. They are recommending mandatory speed limit reductions on every highway, not for safety, but fuel rationing by another name. You can still drive, just slower and less often. Number three, avoiding all air travel where alternatives exist. They didn't define what that actually meant, but the ambiguity, writes Aaron Day, is the feature. It lets regulators decide after the fact whether your trip was essential or not. Non-essential versus essential. Does that ring any bells? Here's another one. Switch from gas cooking to electric. The IEA is now telling you what appliances you can use in your kitchen. And the same agency that published net zero by 2050 is calling now for thermostats to be capped at 19 degrees and a ban on new gas boilers. This is not new, it's accelerating. And then work from home if possible. The guidelines mimic 2020 when they locked down the world and called it public health. In 2026, they're locking down movement and calling it energy security. The template is identical, writes Aaron.
I love the little AI clue in there. It's not this, it's this.
Yeah. She's just reading posts on X, which is, I don't know. I mean, should we do that? Just make a show where we just read off the timeline and maybe, we'll blow up, Basil. We don't have to put any commentary in there.
When the message of reading posts on X is the exact same message coming directly from the politicians, why do you even need it? What's even the benefit of reading other people's takes when it's the same take? So this is the interesting thing, and this is where that you gotta be tricky, you gotta be discerning on April 1st, because it's coming to a head where now suddenly everybody's connecting the dots, man. All their red yarn on the cork board is just like COVID. Yeah, you're just saying what the elites want you to say. That beautiful dance between the mainstream media and the independent media have officially merged into one, in a way with this story that, we haven't quite seen in a way. And of course, the message coming from Politico, even if the war ends tomorrow, even if the Strait of Hormuz opens up and everything gets flowing, you're still going to have to do this for the foreseeable future. And speaking of ending the war, we've had another interesting thing on April 1st. This is coming from Washington Today, or National Today, either one. I think they're one and the same. It says, world leaders deliver rare simultaneous addresses amid Iran conflict. 3 world leaders, President Donald Trump, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, have or will be delivering rare national addresses on Wednesday regarding the ongoing U.S.-Israeli war against Iran. The news has sparked an immediate online frenzy of speculation and fear, with commentators noting the unusual coordination and drawing parallels to the lead up to the COVID-19 pandemic. Why it matters. The simultaneous addresses from these three major world leaders suggests a coordinated effort to prepare their respective populations for significant developments or challenges related to the conflict with Iran. This level of coordination is highly unusual and fueled concerns that leaders may be getting ahead of, quote, incredibly bad news that could soon follow. Oh no. In his address, Australian Prime Minister Albanese urged citizens to switch to public transportation, prepare for difficult times ahead due to the impact of the Iran conflict on oil prices. UK Prime Minister Starmer delivered a similar message, warning Britons of an impending crisis. The White House has also announced that President Trump will address the nation on Wednesday night to provide an important update on his administration's actions in Iran. And there are some, I guess, posts by the White House, as well as some other sources like that, that Trump is actually getting ready to tell us all how great everything has been going in Iran.
Of course.
You know, we accomplished everything. We got rid of the missiles. We got rid of the Navy. So there's this sort of vibe, at least in the sort of internet circles, that like, hey, Trump's getting ready to wind down. They did everything they said they were going to do. Now, because of time zones from Australia to UK, both of those speeches were said on April 1st in their time zone. And of course, Trump tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern time, April 1st, will be making his announcement there. Now, there's some reporting drawing a comparison. This particular article draws the comparison to COVID-19. There was some other reporting that these three world leaders have not made simultaneous announcements on the same day since 9/11. Okay. I mean, whether that's true or not, it's very similar, hearkening to sort of the trauma triggers.
Trauma trigger crisis moment.
Built in, for sort of generations. So speaking of Donald Trump, let's see. This is a post from Unusual Wales. It says, breaking: Trump's speech tonight will be broadcast live across all four major networks: CBS, ABC, NBC, and Fox, beginning at 9 p.m. Eastern time, interrupting several popular TV shows, including
who's watching TV. I mean, I guess still older Americans or something are
including the
popular
2-hour season finale, Gons. The 2-hour season finale of The Masked Singer.
Oh, how could you? The season finale. I waited all season for the end of, and they're going to Trump ruins everything.
Yeah, and a 2-hour special episode of Survivor. Now, if you're gonna kind of be a weirdo analyst on the internet, The Masked Singer is a really weird show where celebrities dress up in kind of grotesque, like really kind of scary masks. And like
eyes wide shut masks.
Yeah, it's very strange. And they'll sometimes it's animals, sometimes it's just like this really bizarre sort of ceremonial kind of ritual, The Masked Singer, where at the end, the best singer is unmasked and the truth is revealed of who did it. It's this whole thing. And Survivor, a show about surviving.
Mm-hmm.
So in the context of like COVID-19's coming, something's happening, you don't know what it is yet, and get ready to survive. These messages, early Trump message coming out right in the middle of these.
So Trump's ripping off the mask. He's going to reveal his alien lineage, and also for us, we have to survive. Is that the message going on here?
It's the questions are endless, Gone. So we'll find out tonight, Eastern Standard Time. I guess that'll be 6 on the West Coast here. So we don't know exactly what it is, but there's other things going on in the world. Perhaps he's going to tell us that the war is over and they're pulling out. Perhaps he's going to tell us that the aliens are coming because it's April 1st. And perhaps it has something to do with the moon mission. Perhaps it has something to do with all three of these. And, we'll take a little bit closer look into the news cycle, see if we can't uncover what might be going on this April 1st. But before we do that, Guns, let's thank some executive producers.
Oh, we're doing that now. Okay. I was going to play the Trump jingle because we didn't even play the jingle.
We will launch a new age.
He's going to announce the new age tonight, everybody.
It's about time.
The golden age is here.
Yes,
tired of winning. Tired of winning. Okay, yeah, let's thank some producers.
Well, and I'm grateful for these executive producers because, folks, this. We're on the value for value model, which means we cannot, even by our own conscience, take any money from corporations, commies, cartels, advertising, grasping onto your time, your attention, your trust to sell that time, attention, and trust to advertisers for our own personal gain. The value for value model is very simple. And it means, look, if you've gotten any value, if you're getting any value, if any value comes to your life through this show, there's an understanding that there are no advertisers to keep it alive. There are no platform sponsorships. There are none of this stuff. We only exist because people understanding and taking responsibility for keeping stuff alive in this day and age that brings value to their life. Because if you don't decide what gives value to your life, you're going to let the corporations, the elites, the social engineers, you're going to let them decide what lives and what dies. But thankfully, the value for value model has kept us alive for this long, and we pray moving into the golden age that we can do it again. You can produce the show with your time, your talent, or your treasure. Lots of ways to produce the show. It's not just all about money, but you can learn more about it at canarycry.support. And the executive producers, these are people who support any individual episode like this for $100 or more. We thank them very much. They go a long way to helping us survive. And so they get credit right here at the top. I want to start by thanking executive producer Augusta Richard.
Hey, Augusta Richard. Thank you.
Augusta Richard. Yeah, Augusta Richard comes in for a nice round number, nice, solid, generous round number. And for those who don't know, when you produce the show financially, if you come in with a nice round number, like on the 10 or the 5, that's you telling us you'd prefer we don't disclose the amount. If you don't mind us disclosing the amount, put some funky numbers on it, put 33 cents or 77 cents or 1, 2, 3, 4, 11, 11, that kind of stuff. That's you having fun telling us that we can disclose the amount. But thank you to executive producer Augusta Richard for coming in with that nice round number. And this actually is, let's see here.
He will be transformed today.
It will be transformed. That's right. This Augusta Richard reaches the status of Knight of the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames. Thank you very much, Augusta Richard. We're going to knight you here in just a moment. Let's see here. He sent me his knight name. Okay, let's see. Is he on a streak? No.
I like his name. That's a great name.
It's a great name. We're going to love it. So thank you very much to soon-to-be Sir Augusta Richard, or Sir Richard, as we'll see when he gets knighted. Really appreciate your support. It means a lot. And always exciting to knight or dame a new member of the roundtable.
Yep, absolutely.
Last but not least, as far as I could tell, or next at least, we have executive producer. You know this one, folks. It's Sir LX Protocol V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol. And he's coming in for $100 and 33 cents. He's on a 475 episode executive producer streak and a 475 episode producer streak and a 129 episode executive producer streak.
It's crazy because every episode that he continues to executive produce is a record, right? He's at that point where it's like those record breakers that keep going. They every bucket or every point, everything, every time.
It's when you switch from setting world records to setting the even more important personal records.
We're on an executive streak discovery. Period.
And he's on the frontier. And this also counts towards the Toph challenge. Thank you very much for the Toph
challenge. Yes, thank you.
And that's it for our executive producers today. Thank you very much. Let's see here. I recall. Okay, sorry. Let me do one thing.
Okay.
Let me just check something. I don't want to leave anything behind. Yeah,
All right.
okay. No, that's January. Okay, there we go. That's what we got. Thank you very much. We will thank some other producers later on in the show who came in under that amount. But let's see here. Let's thank.
Is there a knighting at hand or no? We're not doing this now?
Yeah, I was going to mention the Toph thing real quick, and then we'll do the
Okay,
knighting.
yeah.
Toph still has the Toph challenge going. It's very simple. If you are a Supply Drop member or a T-shirt Council member, you are called upon, your fellow Canarian, to executive produce the show. And for every 3 executive producerships, Toph will sponsor a demoocher to get a full quarter of the supply drop. So if you executive produce for $100, that instantly makes your executive producership worth twice as much. And it gets a new producer, a demoocher, on the list for the supply drop. So it's just a benefit all around. It's very generous. Thank you, Toph. And a good excuse for supply droppers or T-shirt Council members to, come in and produce in another way, an additional way, and provide value to the show and provide value to other Canarians.
Yeah.
So thank you, Toph, for that.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Toph.
let's knight Richard here.
Knight Richard. Okay,
Yes.
let's see here. Let me get all of my things situated here. All right, we gotta get back here. Grab my
And if you don't
katana.
know, for
Mhm.
those who don't know it, the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames is an elite group of producers who have produced the show for $1,000 or more. This could be all at once. This could be over many years. Doesn't matter. But once you hit that $1,000 mark, you are given a seat at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where you are honored and appreciated, and people pick you up and carry you on their shoulders through the streets. And you are in a place of such nobility in the Canarium that nobody can even, I guess, sit at your feet without your permission.
Oh, that's why. Okay, I was logged out of the website. I was trying to add some names from, to the list, but for some reason it was not allowing me. But now I know why. Still warm. The sword is still warm from last episode.
Yeah, let me look around here. Oh, here's mine here.
Oh, extra sharp.
All right, we want to call up Augusta Richard. Please step forward to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have a seat for you. Thanks to your generous support in the amount of $1,000 or more, we are proud to pronounce you Sir Richard, Knight of the Fed. Flat Earth Homer. Please join us at the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, where we have the belt of truth for truthiness, the breastplate of righteousness, custom-fit Birkenstocks to carry forth the gospel of peace, the shield of ferocious faith, the helmet of substantiating salvation, the supernatural sword of the spirit, and of course, adorable samurai babies, infinitely cute kitties for cuddling. And if you're hungry, we have fancy feast, wet food, carved Cosmo, the CRISPR cow, and of course, warmicorn. Welcome to the Canary Cry Roundtable of Knights and Dames, Sir Richard, Knight of the Fed. Flat Earth Homer. The crowd goes wild. Thank you very much. That's a great name. So the name is Sir Richard, Knight of the Fed. FED is all capitalized, and in parentheses, in case we are confused about which Fed, in parentheses it says Flat Earth Domers. So we officially have a flat earther at the round table. Thank you very much, Sir Richard. We'll make sure to add your name at the round table over at canarycrynewstalk.com/roundtable. And you've done it. You've reached new heights in this life that we all knew you could. Thank you, Sir Richard.
I get the feeling he's not the only flat earther in the round table.
No, probably not. But he is the only knight of the flat earth.
Of the Fed.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Good.
that. Very clever. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. Sir, what is it? Sir Augustus?
No, Sir Richard.
Sir Richard, sorry. Yeah, Sir Augustus Richard. Now, Sir Richard. There you go.
One last
All right.
thing to mention before we jump back into the news here. Go to cagerattlercoffee.com. It's a very important place, very important thing to do. If you're someone who's not quite adjusted to the idea of supporting the show and the value for value model, you probably drink coffee, you probably drink it often, and you probably are not super excited to be sending all your money to evil coffee corporations who poison you with moldy coffee and gross burnt coffee and also hate everything you believe in. So in the spirit of parallel economy, Canarians have come together. They have sourced coffee beans from all over the world. They are roasted in small batches with loving care and knowledge of the truth and made available strictly to Canarians like you. We hear all the time how it's the best possible coffee you can get anywhere, and it's done in just the most high quality circumstances. We're very grateful for Cage Rattler Coffee. And of course, a portion of every bag you get comes to support the show. So we really appreciate that. Go to cagerattlercoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
All right, I'm immortalizing actually we're putting in Dame Tinfoil Hat Keeper of the Seeds from last episode, as well as Sir Richard Knight of the Fed, Flat Earth Domers, and we are official. What is it? Episode 928. Here we go. Boom, boom. And go refresh the Roundtable page. Your names are inscribed forever.
Beautiful. Okay. Lovely. Anything else, or are you ready to jump back in?
I think I'm ready to jump back in here. Are we getting into the alien talk now? Is that what's happening?
Speaking of 4th of July, wait, no, not 4th of July. Speaking of April Fool's Day guns, let's talk about aliens.
Oh, okay.
We're made by the aliens.
Where are the aliens? Maybe they're among us. I don't know. Some people think I'm an alien. Not true.
Maybe we are aliens.
Of course, I'd say that.
Maybe we are
aliens.
Maybe we are aliens. All the alien talk. Of course, there's the UFO talk to go along with it.
There's footage and records of objects in the skies that we don't know exactly what they are.
Yeah, I wonder what Chris Shilzilla thinks about UFOs.
I guess you could say I'm something of an expert on UFOs.
Throw him in there. He needs to be included. So, it's really weird, this news cycle, because, of course, we have April Fools to contend with. But at the same time, we have so many things coming full circle. Australia, of course, was a big topic of conversation because of the prime minister and the lockdowns and things like this. But that's not the only April Fool's talk coming out of Australia, guys.
Senator Babet, who on his X account has a gray check mark, which means he is an official government personnel. I believe he's a senator. Senator Babet. His profile reads, Christ is King, with a cross emoji, and Roman Catholic. There you go. He's one of these Catholic guys. He posted on X, I wish I could say more, but unfortunately, everything I know about the alien hybrid program is classified. Let's just say some of you would be very surprised who's not entirely human. That's all I'm authorized to disclose at this time. And he was quote posting Interstellar, which we'll get to the Matt Gaetz clip there. But a few hours later, he went even deeper. Senator Babet posted a video, and here's what he said in the video.
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. It's true. There are aliens living amongst us. There are aliens in Area 51. There are even alien human hybrids. I have been briefed this morning in a top secret intelligence briefing that exposes all. Unfortunately, I am forbidden from speaking about it under pain of death. But know this, I will fight for accountability and I will fight for transparency. There is more to come. Stay tuned. Follow for more.
Yeah, he's a little farming there. Follow for more. Now, you know that this is a an April Fool's thing because he's holding this piece of paper, a stack of papers, and the top piece of paper with big, bold red frame around the middle part there. It says top secret, top secret. And what they did was they spliced in the image of this flyer into the video, which is a brilliant engagement tactic. It's like a little hack, Basil, for anybody that's on X. The algos are counting how long you stay on somebody's account. And so when you put a little frame of this flyer in there, they know that people are going to be sitting there scrubbing the timeline, trying to get it just right to get to that thing. What does it say on the flyer? And I just had it and I lost it. Shoot, I should have just not moved the thing. Hold on one second. Let me get back to it because I got to find the spot where they spliced it in. Basically, it's kind of like a mock-up thing. It says top secret. And man, I shouldn't have touched it. Now I lost it. Here we go. Okay, it says, oh, no. I lost it again. Here we go. There you go. See how much time that takes to find it? That's just all engagement time that we're giving this sender. It says Commonwealth of Australia, national security, top secret, eyes only, agency classified, file reference TS AUS Xeno 01, date April 1st, 2026, subject non-human contact event, occupants confirmed, non-human, origin redacted. It says the word redacted. It's not an actual redacted thing. PM briefed at 6 o'clock. Containment underway. Warning: unauthorized disclosure will result in public panic. Penalties apply. So, somebody got real creative with the AI, threw together a little top secret document for this guy to hold and wave around. And they took a little picture of it on the desk there and they spliced it into the video.
And even the way he speaks, the timbre, not the timbre of his voice, but the intonation, the way he speaks is quite clearly, an April Fool's joke. He's making a thing. Yes, aliens are real. I can't tell you anymore, but yes, everything you know about. So it's quite clearly, supposed to be sort of this satire, but. You're right. The interesting thing is he's responding. All of this was in response to a video where Matt Gaetz appears with who? Is it Benny Johnson?
Benny Johnson. Benny Johnson's like the disclosure guy. He gets to interview Obama, JD Vance, and now Matt Gaetz. And yeah, there's a clip that went viral where Matt Gaetz talks a little bit about the whole, I guess, the breeding program. You want to hear this clip, Basil?
Now remember, it's Matt Gaetz. I mean, he was a congressperson from Florida. He was Trump had attempted to tap him for AG of the United States. Very well known, or at least high profile U.S. politician. He's not currently in politics at this moment. But this was a conversation he had with Benny Johnson. Again, Benny Johnson appearing in a lot of these weird sort of disclosure type videos.
Yeah, the Benny show's going wild. Here he is.
I think the most important information will be the biologics that are not human that have been discovered. And like even some of the briefings that aren't classified just need to be out in the public. I mean, I had someone come and brief me who was in a military uniform, worked for the United States Army, that was briefing me on the locations of hybrid breeding programs where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some...
Do you see the look on Benny Johnson's face, by the way? He really plays up the shock factor of this whole thing here. So anyway, let me back it up a little bit here.
Where captured aliens were breeding with humans to create some hybrid race that could engage in intergalactic communication. An actual uniformed member of the United States Army briefed me on that.
Non-human biologics, interracial alien mating. What the F is going on? Look, wait a second. You had whistleblowers tell you this kind of thing? Can you please unpack that?
I had a guy who was uniformed. He was a senior enlisted with the United States Army. Came into my office in Crestview, Florida, in a non-classified setting. I had members of my staff there, And what they explained is that the military ran a very secret program where aliens that were living were in forced breeding programs with humans that had been abducted from war zones and from even the caravans of migrants. Now, again, I didn't verify this, but what the whistleblower was telling me is that there were like between 6 and 12 locations around the country where this happened. And what he wanted was a group, members of Congress, to all show up at the same time at all of these different locations so that any of those activities could not be moved. And of course, it's a physical impossibility to get members of Congress to simultaneously show up at like 8 locations at one time. And so that never occurred.
What do you mean non-human biologics? Like this?
Well, that was the testimony of David Grush before the House Oversight Committee, which I joined, and the testimony was that in crashes of craft that had been recovered by the CIA and through a special program that the CIA had for crash recovery, that it wasn't just the hard materials, it was also biologics, but that they couldn't identify a human source of those biologics.
There you go.
So, it's interesting. Remember, put this in the context of the Australian politician responding sort of obviously satirically here. Now, Matt Gaetz is not currently in the United States sort of government, so I don't know what that means, but he's claiming that a uniformed senior enlisted Army person showed up at his office. This was not a skiff. This was not a, congressional subpoena or something. Just a guy showed up and told him about this. And so, of course, we are simultaneously and have been dealing with for some time the soft disclosure, the government taking steps to disclose these things. It's done in the spirit of the truth finally has to come out. This is against the will of the deep state. This is the white hats getting the truth about aliens out there. But of course, the sort of opposite is just as likely. The sort of fake disclosure, or the disclosure in the sort of controlled way to get it out there in such a fashion that people, believe that it's real. So, this came out on March 31st. Okay. This is kind of part of a lot of what we're dealing with today, either is coming out on April 1st or coming out on March 31st. Could this Matt Gaetz, Benny Johnson thing be an April Fool's joke, and they just recorded on the 31st so that it would catch on April 1st? This kind of mind-bending quality of the PSYOP is present across the board here. But this is he's speaking with such certainty. Now, of course, this is certainty in what a alleged uniformed whistleblower came and told him in a non-secure environment. Could the whistleblower be some sort of agent of the PSYOP? Is Matt Gaetz himself part of it, an agent of the PSYOP? Is Benny Johnson here? I mean, he makes some surprised faces that almost do read kind of satirical. I don't know. It's just kind of funky. But
it's kind of the shifty eyes going. It's classic.
Yeah, you kind of add all these things in here together, and even the claim itself that the government has imprisoned some aliens and are forcing them to breed with kidnapped soldiers from war zones or kidnapped migrants from the migrant caravans. It just sort of touches all these different sensitive spots, in current events and in, I guess, politics or something. But it's really one of the most blatant and straightforward, coming from, I think a lot of people would consider Matt Gaetz something of a reliable guy, not necessarily somebody who's known for pulling big April Fool's jokes or something, but maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe there's a different aspect to him I'm not aware of.
Yeah. Well, there's a PSYOP layer to all of this. Obviously, the controlled rollout of these topics to the general public. And I think for people like us, Basil, we've been tapped into the subculture, the alternative research community, or whatever you want to call it, the independent research community.
Back when it was alternative and independent.
Yeah, right. Well, I think we can still call it somewhat independent. Alternative has become a tarnished word now, but
yeah, although it's bugging me though, because it's very similar to the Politico lockdown COVID. I mean, that's the message from the mainstream is these lockdowns are like the COVID lockdowns. And here we have, Benny Johnson is of a level of quote independent media that he's sort of, it may not even really count as independent anymore. I mean, more alternative, I guess, which as we know has become the mainstream. You can call Benny Johnson mainstream, and Matt Gaetz too. I mean, mainstream, high profile US politician. It feels very similar to Politico drawing the connection to COVID, these guys drawing the connection to secret government alien breeding programs. Whether or not it's real or not, this might as well be coming from like Fox News,
Yeah. Well, or Dailymail or something. But yes, so again, there's a PSYOP layer to all of it, but then there's the actual research that has been going on for several years on this topic. And if you recall, Basil, back in 2016, so it is over 10 years ago now, we had Canary Cry Radio, episode number 102, and it was titled Alien Hybrids Among Us with Dr. David Jacobs. Now, David Jacobs, he's a researcher. He's a secular researcher. He's not coming at this from a biblical view. He's not even really coming at it from a spiritual view or like a pro-alien view, nothing. He was coming at it from a strictly sort of empirical view of researching the subjects who claim they have been abducted by aliens and putting together the research. I'll just read some of the description here that we wrote.
This was Canary Cry Radio. This was our show, episode 102, you say?
Yes. We said back then, it's kind of weird to read the stuff we wrote like 10 years ago. In this episode, Dr. Jacobs claims that there are experiences that all 100% of subjects share. These are subjects that have claimed to have encounters with these entities. What are those experiences? Well, you'll have to listen to the episode. We were so good at teasing. He also discusses what he has termed hybrids, or human-alien hybrids, that apparently walk among us now. This alleged breeding program, according to Dr. Jacobs, is the most important topic in the world. Is the phenomenon tied to the returning of the Nephilim? When we kind of get into the Genesis 6 paradigm, because from the biblical point of view, this is kind of what happened with the pre-flood antediluvian world. You have you got the divine council, you got the rebellious divine entities who turned their back on God. They left their abode. They came down on Mount Hermon. They're called the Watchers. They're called the sons of God, or the B'nai Ha-Elohim. In the Bible, in Genesis 6 there, they take human wives as they just take them. They mate with them because they were beautiful. And then they had this race of giants called the Nephilim. And God was like, yeah, no, we're not going to have that. We're not going to just allow this to happen. And so that's why the flood occurred. It wasn't because people were mean, hitting each other with sticks. It was a much more corrupt situation with perhaps our genetic lineage, where all flesh had corrupted their ways. And, the hearts of men were evil continually, and all that kind of stuff that's actually in Genesis 6. And so part of what I remember in the conversation, and I'll have to go back and listen to it and recall if this was actually in the episode, but if I'm not mistaken, David Jacobs discussed how these victims of abduction were asked to go back and hold their hybrid children, these babies, and something about human touch was important to keep these hybrid children alive. That's something about the aliens themselves. They couldn't keep them alive. They needed the touch of the mother, the human mother, to hold them, to sustain life in the early stages. And, based on the, more modern research about the importance of mothers and holding your baby when they're first born and stuff, there's some validity there in terms of the effect of a mom or a dad or something holding your child when they're first born. But, it's stuff like that I recall. And of course, again, there's layers to this. There's that Genesis 6 layer. And so if that is happening again today, of course, from a biblical point of view, it's like, oh yeah, well, Jesus said, as it were in the days of Noah, so shall be the coming of the Son of Man. So since the days of Noah were the days when the Nephilim were walking around as offspring of this unholy union between the Watchers and human women, that happening again, leading up to Jesus's return seems to check out. It seems to kind of be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Of course, the world today will see it as a new phenomenon or something weird or something mythological or something like that. But from a biblical point of view, there's precedent already there established. But also, there's another layer to this, which is the pattern of the United States government using the topic of aliens and UFOs and things of that nature as sort of a cover-up for their own abominable experimentation going on. And, the stuff that's public now, you have your U-2 and A-12 spy plane testing that was going on in the 50s and 60s. People saw the test runs and stuff of these aircraft back then. And, the government said, oh, we don't have any aircraft, and then people started reporting like, oh, I saw a UFO. They started thinking that these were UFOs, aliens or whatever. And the government didn't push back on it. I mean, they kind of said, oh, maybe it's not UFOs.
The beneficial dialectic of
they allowed
the government.
Right. And same thing with Groom Lake and Area 51, similar types of situation there where, people see things and then the speculation begins that it's UFOs, it's aliens, and the government will put out a little statement, but they're not going to squash the industry that is created from the speculation because it allows for that cover up to exist. And perhaps the most sort of well-known example of this was in the 80s. It's the Paul Benowitz affair. It's now known to be a true UFO disinformation campaign where the UFO alien narrative was clearly used to divert attention from sensitive things going on that were less than savory. So, and of course, our late colleague and mentor, Dr. Michael Heiser, has stated for years that he believed the whole Roswell crash thing, the 1947 Roswell crash, was an actual wreckage from something some people called Project Mogul or some other projects where they used people that were suffering from certain types of ailments or diseases, and they put them in these craft to see how they would do in altitude, and they were flying them around, and then oops, one of them crashed, and kind of in a civilian area, people can kind of see it or whatever, and we better roll out the alien narrative because what the government was doing was very, very unethical, and they rather have everybody speculating about aliens than oops, the government are torturing people with deformities and stuff and killing them on accident for some kind of aerial experiments.
There's an interesting timing too when it comes to the Nephilim connection, the alien hybrid breeding program, these sorts of things, and how
back to the breeding program.
As in the days of Noah, so shall it be the coming of the Son of Man. The state, if these theories are what they are, and alien human breeding would be a part of the end times narrative, it does line up chronologically very interestingly with what we're seeing with the war in the Middle East. The American military telling their soldiers that it's Armageddon. You've got the Israeli government talking about how this is, what's going to bring the Messiah. The governments of the world very much trying to place this storyline of, hey, this is what's in the book of Revelation. Well, it would require in this part of the theory that some sort of Nephilim breeding program would be happening. If not a government program, then at least, Nephilim hybrid breeding of some kind must be happening.
Well, genetic experimentation.
The broader meta scale, it fits with the sort of meta narrative trying to put up. I want to real quick, Guns. KHP is giving us timer updates to the
Yes.
Artemis launch. We'll keep an eye
Yeah,
on
I'm looking
that.
at it now. Yeah.
They have the timer frozen at T-minus 10 minutes.
I see that. Yeah.
We'll just kind of keep an eye on that. Once that 10-minute timer goes on, then we can prepare to watch the launch, see if
Look at
anything.
this. They're manipulating time and space already. Look at, I mean, come on. They're
It's
already
very
manipulating.
impressive. So I think we can get to where we need to be by the time the launch happens.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
On this, on the same March 31st, April Fool's Day, aliens narrative getting put out there. Anna Paulina Luna wrote a letter to Pete Hegseth. This was yesterday. It's dated March 31st. It says, "Dear Secretary Hegseth," again, the same day that Matt Gaetz revealed the alien breeding program.
Oh, this was a coordinated thing between these fellas here. We'll talk about the three of them, but yeah.
Sure seems that way. But Anna Paulina Luna put out this letter to Secretary Hegseth. The Committee on Oversight and Government Reforms Task Force on the Declassification of Federal Secrets Task Force is continuing in investigating into unidentified aerial phenomena. The continued lack of transparency surrounding these anomalies and the potential national security threat they pose is troubling. On September, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, she's saying we're very sad that you're not being more open with us, and is requesting some classified videos from Pete Hegseth to assist in the task force in its investigation of UAPs. We request the following videos be delivered as soon as possible, but no later than April 14th, 2026.
Okay, just in time for tax. Release the videos to collapse the IRS. I like this plan.
Yeah, and it lists 4 videos that are sort of known but not declassified. 4 UAP formation in Iran in 2022.
Ooh, Iran.
Syrian UAP instant acceleration from 21. UAP USO formation, Wiley 2X zinc, don't know what that is, cigar-shaped or fat spherical UAP in 2022. So 4 videos, interestingly, at least 2 or 3 of them from war zones, because we know that UAP activity is increased during war in war zones. So you've got a Iran one in 22, a Syrian one, but yes, happening chronologically, sort of next door to Matt Gaetz, to all the other sort of alien narrative messaging. We have this very official letter going out to Pete Hegseth.
Right. So yes, so that's Miss Luna doing that. We had Matt Gaetz doing his part, going on the Benny Show, talking about it. And I believe there was a third person here. Did I take it out of the notes? Oh boy, I think I took it out of the notes. It got deleted.
I don't recall a third person.
Tim Burchett.
Oh,
The walking video guy that you like from the government there. He's also been talking about some of this alien stuff, and just as a sort of a possible explanation for this. Now, again, we have to keep in mind, I rant about this and I say this every time, but there's a difference between the craft side of things, like the hardware conversation with the UFO, and then there's like the alien side. And now it's one umbrella topic, but there's a difference there. And when you're talking about the hardware, you're talking about the craft, you're talking about potential infrastructure for energy, interestingly enough, right? So you have people like Ashton Forbes, who's been kind of on this trail of it was his research into the Malaysian aircraft, and some of the declassified footage from that is very strange. You've seen that, right, Basil? Where they're like,
the spinning orbs.
There's like orbs around it and stuff. There's some weird footage going on. And he's been on that trail for a few years now, and he believes that whatever videos they release, it's actually going to be plasma fusion propulsion drones flying around. He says, don't be fooled. And his whole take is that it's not alien. It might be alien technology, quote unquote, but it's not aliens. These are our own, classified, highly secret technology or craft that we already have. And, what a great way to sort of have plausible deniability by calling it aliens. And this is an elaborate plan between your Miss Luna and all these sort of government people doing the investigation and the actual, whatever you want to call it, the secret society or whoever's running things or whoever has control of that technology to roll it out and allow the alien industry or UFO industry to continue to progress, because it is an industry and there is a monetary incentive for a lot of people that investigate these types of things, and also release the actual technology, and just in time for an energy collapse with oil, which is something that I
we need the free energy. We need the alien technology to save us from lockdowns.
Right. The Economist cover from back in 2017, the Rothschild, or formerly Rothschild, by the way. I think the Rothschilds sold their 26% of shares they held in the Economist magazine. So technically, the Rothschilds do not have anything to do with the Economist magazine anymore, Basil. Did you know that? I think that was as of last week or something. But anyway, this is back in 2016 or 2017. Linda Rothschild shared this article on Twitter at the time. And the headline was, "It had a good run, but the end is in sight for the machine that changed the world." And it's got the combustion engine all dead right there. And when you get into the article, it's really just a pro electric car article. Like, it's just we're gonna. It's your typical kind of climate change type of narrative going on, and we got to go electric. And this is before Elon's stuff took off. So kind of interesting there how that all played out.
Well, it kind of matches the same Politico lockdowns for oil reasons, not just for weather reasons or climate reasons.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think it's interesting that Pete Hegseth is the one that Miss Luna is sending this letter to, because Pete Hegseth is having his own little issues, and in conjunction with Ashton Forbes saying that a lot of the UFO stuff that they're going to release are actual drones used with plasma or fusion propulsion or some kind of advanced technology. And it's interesting. It's all kind of coming together, Basil, because according to the Daily Beast, paranoid Pentagon Pete wants lasers to protect him from drones. And this was published today on April 1st. And it says here, Defense Department officials have reportedly been butting heads with aviation authorities as the Pentagon considers moving a high-powered laser system within Washington airspace to protect Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth from drones. Pentagon insiders told the New York Times on Tuesday that talks are ongoing about deploying the laser system following the reports of unusual drone activity near Fort McNair in the southwest of the district. Hegseth, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, among others, currently live on the base. And so I think I talked about this on the day you were out, Basil, that there were some strange drone sightings going on as sort of a sequential thing in DC. I think there was one in Texas. Maybe there was one in Ohio as well. It was kind of a wave of unauthorized drones entering certain airspaces. And it says here, officials have claimed this serves as a precaution amid rising political violence across the country. Critics describe it as a hallmark of growing autocratic tendencies under the second Trump administration. And then they quote Harvard University professor Stephen Levitsky, who studies democratic threats. And it says here, he told the New York Times, "It is something you never see in a democracy. Government officials live on military bases or other sorts of fortified zones in authoritarian regimes." Suggesting that this whole regime with Trump is an authoritarian one, which, hey, you know what? Maybe we need an authoritarian regime when the aliens show up, I mean, come on, guys. Come on, Democrats. Or
that
but
would be the plan. That's
the plan. So that's kind of the adjacent type of stuff going on. And again, man, it's the layers of the PSYOP are many at this point. And we just got to pay attention to all the layers because, we never know what's really happening. But coming at it from, I think we have a unique advantage in that we have studied these topics before it became truly utilized as a sort of narrative craft for the government and even as a part of a disclosure conversation. So maybe we have some perspectives that people otherwise wouldn't, So, okay, it looks like we're under 10 minutes on the thing here. Did you want to talk or just play this clip?
It's still showing 10 minutes for me here. Is it counting down for you?
Yeah, it's 8 minutes. T minus 8 minutes. We're under 8 now.
Oh, weird. Why is mine different?
Yeah, because you're not
I've
allowed.
got the
You're
map
using.
open.
The thing
there
is
we go.
moving. It's moving off the thing. The thing is.
Okay, so we got about 7 minutes. I do want to mention on the same thing, all of this coming around the same April 1st, we've been tracking the disappearance of the various UAP, UFO scientists or generals. Every time we do a show, they're adding more to the list. Dailymail came out yesterday. Mystery of scientists dead or missing rises to 8 as 2 more men tied to America's most coveted secrets join the list. So we got 2 more guys disappeared. And the funny thing with this, as you point out, Gons, is that this is not 2 new guys disappearing. So we're looking at pure narrative here, pure narrative crafting. It's not that 2 more guys disappeared, but that they just are adding people to the list.
Yes, they're retroactively adding people to the list. And I made a little post on it this morning, and I said that they're retroactively adding people to the list. There's always some connection to occult and esoteric topics when it comes to this. For example, the first person that they mention here missing or actually passed away, hold on, I'm on the wrong article here. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Is NASA scientist Frank Maywald, who reportedly died on July 4th, 2024. So Independence Day 2 years ago is when he passed away at age 61.
I just want, for timing's sake, we're at 6 minutes. I do want to make sure we can play this Stephen Greer clip, at least 1:50 of it, before we do the launch. So make sure to save about 3 minutes.
Okay. Okay. I feel like I'm in a spaceship right now. Okay. So I'll be very quick.
Okay,
I'll be very quick. So this first guy, NASA guy, he was a JPL principal, died on Independence Day 2024. He was in charge of looking for life on different places, including Jupiter's moon Europa, Saturn's moon Enceladus, and the dwarf planet Ceres. And each one of these has its occult connections. You have Europa, which is named after a Phoenician princess in Greek mythology, and she was the one that Zeus or Jupiter fell in love with, and you can read the story there. He turns himself into a bull and this whole thing. So it's got the Genesis 6 connection there where the gods try to mate with human women. And so that's Europa. Enceladus was a Greek giant, literally a gigantus, a giant. So that's a Nephilim connection right there. And then Ceres is the daughter of Saturn and Ops, or a Cronus and Rhea, depending on your mythology. And she's the archetype of the Great Mother, abundance versus loss, the vegetative cycle, nutrition, and also for the mystery religions, she's the one that's in charge of initiation and hidden knowledge after or in the afterlife and the bounds of the earth. So that's the guy looking for life on those celestial objects, allegedly. He died. And then there's another guy named Anthony Chavez who went missing on May 4th. Star Wars, May the 4th be with you, 2025. So just a year ago. He retired in 2017. And he was believed to have security clearances with sensitive information from the Los Alamos National Laboratory. And he went missing like the other guy went missing. He just walked off, and boom, he's gone. So very interesting that some of these patterns continue to persist.
It's kind of fun because they're adding guys who have disappeared or died before they even started counting this list, right?
Right.
It seems like every guy that they adds narratively, sort of in the meta narrative, to what's involved in the UFO thing. You had the general guy, the military connection, you had the technology connection. Now they're adding the Nephilim connections, they're adding the mythology.
It's the dream team, baby. It's putting together the dream team. The end times science squad.
This ongoing list of UFO connected people disappearing or dying, each one of them adds a new facet to the long-standing, like, sort of broad meta of what exactly is going on with aliens. Okay, and with that, Stephen Greer, who, of course, if we're talking about soft disclosure of aliens coming from the government, Stephen Greer is one of these guys who seems to be an agent of that. Bring it all around together. This is Stephen Greer today.
Oh my gosh,
there's talking about the fake alien invasion.
We're T-minus 3 minutes, and this clip is 3 minutes, Basil.
I know. Well, if you look at my notes there, it says we're just playing 1 minute 50 seconds.
Got it.
The big one would be this, what Werner von Braun warned about on his deathbed. He said, he said, we are going to hoax an alien attack on the planet. It's all a lie, but it will trick and fool almost everyone. So we're trying to expose that. But see, if this festers much longer with that group that have the technologies I'm talking about, in a minute, they could stage this and it would fool. Well, it had. I mean, look at what they've been doing for decades, fooling everyone. Everyone's saying, oh, those are alien events. And, our military guys chasing these objects thinks those are military, right? But they're not. I mean, or alien, they're military or covert aerospace programs. So the ability to hoax an attack on our planet is real. And
what would be the goal in them doing that, staging a, really false alien attack on the entire world? What would they accomplish?
They want to unite the world around a military junta, a totalitarian system. And how do you do that? How do you get one race or one ethnicity or one nation to stop fighting with each other? You create a bigger problem up there, and it unites everyone against a common enemy. But in that uniting of the world in war instead of peace, they can then exert all manner of totalitarian controls. That has been a 70-year plan. I have a CIA document from 1953 or 54 stating that they can use the UFO issue to great advantage for its, quote, psychological warfare value. So once they got close and mastered the technology in the mid-50s, and they knew they were close to that in 53, 54.
Psychological warfare quality was the end there. So you have, of course, to us and everybody in the space, we know the connections between aliens and the days of Noah, between Armageddon and Iran as the government.
T-minus 33 seconds.
There. Yes. And all it takes is a fake alien invasion to unite the world under one military junta. How will the aliens attack? What will be the purpose? Perhaps Artemis launch has something to do with it. What could have everybody witness the alien invasion all at once? It could happen for the first time when we actually try to go back to the moon. We're going to see live if the aliens attack during the Artemis launch.
They're not. They turned off the countdown. What are they doing?
Here we go.
10.
Here we go.
8. 7.
Wow, live.
25 engines lit. 4.
Oh, they started early.
2. 1. Booster ignition.
Whoa.
And liftoff. The crew of Artemis 2 now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Keep up, camera. Come on. Zoom up. Oh, there you go.
Roll pitch. Roger, roll pitch.
Are you able to get a little bit more volume on that?
No.
Okay. Come on, alien.
Come on, aliens.
Come on, aliens.
Come on, aliens. Where are you?
As you noted on Monday, they have the plushie doll. The children voted.
They were interviewing children right before this.
Put the plushie doll in there to make sure that the children get invested in this thing. A perfect time for aliens to attack Artemis, to traumatize the next generation of children and get everybody to unite in defending the Earth.
What is this? What happened here? What are we looking at? We got to bring in the cheers.
People are very excited. Come on, aliens. What we need now is the Ashton Forbes MH370 orbs.
Yeah, the orbs to get in.
The orbs start flying around Artemis 2 and it disappears.
We need a portal to open up.
Approaching 90 seconds into the Artemis 2 mission.
Why is it going down? What is this?
Just...
Flat earthers are like, wait a minute, it's going down. It's not going up.
Can they make it through the firmament, or will the alien orbs wormhole it to the ocean in the South Pacific?
Yeah, okay.
Goes,
They're going so high that they're going down.
Mission elapsed time,
Getting
standing by for
smaller.
main engine throttle down to 85%, ahead of solid rocket booster separation expected at the 2-minute 9-second mark.
By the way, Basil, when I yelled T minus 33 seconds, I wasn't just saying that. The actual live report, the stream said 33 seconds.
Incredible.
Like that wasn't like a thing. And also, just as a thing, when I first
Main engines throttling up.
what's going on? Why is there two of them?
No, that's the boosters coming off.
Oh, it's the boosters. Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Why-
You didn't know that this is how they launch space craft?
Oh, okay. Now I see what's going on. Oh, they actually fell off the thing. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So now it's just a dot in the sky.
Now, did they? Oh, what was the exact time that they took off? Because one thing, some of the details, Artemis was set to launch at 6:24 p.m. EST,
It was like 30,
which was
3:36 my time.
3:24, very close to launching at 3:30. You get the 33.
Might have
in
been
there.
30. Might have been 6:33.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit after 6:33. Don't know the
They
exact.
tried. It's hard to do.
Now passing 5,000 miles per hour.
But you found some other numbers attached to
I
this.
did.
What was the
As
number
soon as I tuned into the stream here, they started talking about how the Artemis 2 rocket is 322 feet tall.
Oh,
I was like,
interesting.
well, what are the odds? What are the odds? It's 322. For those of you who don't know, that's a Skull and Bones 322
Very occult
reference there.
number.
Jettison, Team Eco 8+02.
Okay.
Come on. Oh, they've had to switch to some
crowd.
sort of
And Houston has you loud and clear on Tidris
sort of ultraviolet camera. Come on, look for the orbs.
The orbs, or they're entering the waters above.
3 minutes,
So
50
that's why,
seconds.
you know, the
Flight of
plume
Artemis
looks
2,
different.
Wiseman,
when you get
Glover,
up
Cook,
there.
and Hansen cross the boundary to space with good comm checks. GPS signals acquired after last jettison now working on internal checks to verify accuracy.
Oh, just some
Flight
stock
dynamics officer
sky
analyzed
footage.
the time of main engine cutoff confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds. Time of MECO.
We lost the sound.
Is that the code for the aliens to come attack? Come on, we need something to happen. How are we going to unite the world under a one world government?
Confirmed at 8
Oh, that's
minutes.
nice. The timer says it's been flying for 4 minutes, 40 seconds. It's
That would
3:40
put
now.
us-
So it must have launched around 3:36.
Integrity, GPS processing.
Prophesying? Oh, processing.
Phoenix Stand, we see the same, and we have a beautiful moonrise. We're headed right at it.
All right, they're going for the moon.
Okay. All right, Orbs. You're running out of time, Orbs.
Into the flight, Commander Reed Wiseman confirms he has visuals of his destination. GPS guidance, navigation, and control software finishes internal checks and sends to navigation channels.
Well, this is historic, Basil. We were live during January 6th.
Lots of things. We always tend to be
We've been-
live.
We've been live during some major events. So maybe
I want to be
maybe,
live with the aliens
On time now,
abduct.
passing 5 minutes 20 seconds of mission
Artemis
elapsed time
2.
into the Artemis 2 mission. At this point, 3 good main engines are all that's needed to carry integrity to a nominal main engine cutoff target. Though at this time, we're seeing 4 good engines here in Mission Control Houston.
how come they're not showing any
75 miles in altitude, 330 miles downrange, approaching
330 miles.
miles per hour.
Another 33, Basil. They can't make this stuff up.
33. We've got double 33s.
How come they're not showing any footage from inside? Normally they have like the inside the cockpit cam, you know? Maybe someone threw it.
Normally?
They don't want to show it.
Integrity, looking good at 6 minutes.
Or maybe not normally. I don't know. I don't watch too many of these things.
All those other
it
moons.
has been 60. I was going to say all the whatever many years, 70, 50.
And
60?
engine performance.
Oh, now they got CGI.
Yeah,
oh,
we've
great.
moved to
Yeah, they've done it.
Judd Friedling expected at the 7-minute mark.
A launch abort system
Integrity,
separator.
78
What does that mean?
miles in altitude, 460 miles downrange.
Integrity, expect nominal shutdown.
A shutdown. Is that a normal thing? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, they're shutting down various engines, meaning they've made it far enough in the
6 minutes,
process.
40
That's
seconds
the
of mission
firmament.
elapsed time. Shutdown plan is as expected. Again, the time of Miko was confirmed at 8 minutes 2 seconds into the flight.
Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye on this. Maybe we can just keep letting it play in case something crazy happens. But you had some NASA, of course, technically being part of the government, had some other interesting things to say recently. Again,
just to kind of piggyback on the Three Musketeers trying to expose the UFO topic, you got let's see, it was Paulina Luna and Matt Gaetz, and the third one is Tim Burchett. Tim Burchett also posted this morning, quote posting Josh Dobbs, who said, "We go back to the moon today, historic," and Tim Burchett just said, "Back?" question mark.
Yeah,
just really playing in. I mean, he can do that on April Fool's Day because it's April Fool's. But back to the Benny show, which has become just, I don't know. Benny is just the guy, okay? He's the guy that gets to interview everybody. He interviewed the NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman, who Jared Isaacman was on this NASA stream as I was kind of peeking over there, Basil, about an hour ago. This same gentleman that we're about to hear from, Jared Isaacman, was being interviewed for the stream, talking about the whole launch and everything. And are they showing? Ooh, what are they showing now? What is that?
It's just an engine separation. They're
Separation. Is that the real thing or is that the CGI? Because they keep showing the CGI of this thing.
No way of knowing.
Why do they do that? Is that just because the regular footage is not compelling enough, or they know the conspiracy theorists are, will go crazy when they just keep showing the CGI footage?
It's hard to film something when it's so far away, I suppose.
Just,
making a TV show.
Wait, why is it? Oh, that's the stuff falling back down. Okay, back to this Jared Isaacman clip here. Now, this clip itself doesn't really provide what I was hoping for, but I'll give you a little context after the clip here. It's about a minute and a half. Benny talking to Jared.
What is all of this exploration of the great beyond and the mysteries that intertwine all of it? How does that affect your relationship with a creator, with God? What does the mysteries of the universe unraveled tell you? All great minds have that have thought of these things or reached for the stars eventually come to some realization about their relationship with the creator.
I'll tell you, I mean, I've been to space twice, and I think it's very hard to be there and not be somewhat spiritual, because you just have an appreciation for, how small we are in the grand scheme of things, like the enormity of what's around us. And like, it had to have all started like somewhere, right? We don't have, an answer for that right now. So the idea that maybe this was all part of some extraordinary grand design is, those thoughts have to go through your mind. Like it's too interesting of a perspective not to kind of go down that road, I think. So, but it is like, this is what we are pursuing right now. We are going to learn so much, in the years ahead. And I absolutely believe we were destined to do this, to go out, to explore, and to seek out a lot of those answers. And they're waiting for us.
Okay. So again, he didn't really go into it in the clip, but in the post that Benny shared this clip, he says, NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman tells me the heavens reveal God's glory and points us to our creator. And he has that quote where you just heard there. And then it goes on here. The NASA administrator tells me he reads the Bible inspired by the life of Charlie Kirk. Quote, I started to read the Bible and I still do, and don't think that would have happened. I don't think I would have had the kind of calling in that moment had it not been for what happened to Charlie. So he's suggesting that the Charlie Kirk assassination inspired this NASA administrator to pick up the Bible. And look, I'm not going to get in the way of anybody picking up their Bibles and reading it, Basil. I think that's a great thing. But it's kind of strange and interesting that, he's talking about how he's still reading the Bible so many years since the Charlie Kirk assassination, or I guess months, because how long has it been? September, October, November, December, January. Okay, about 5-6 months. So, it's very interesting that they're also presenting the NASA exploration of the moon and all these things in the context of God and
Well, you know, in the
grander explorations.
again, yeah, in the movement towards the broader Christendom narrative here, I mean, for him to pick up his Bible because of the assassination of Charlie Kirk, further sort of
It's a very
martyring.
relatable story for a lot of younger
Yeah,
people.
further, I mean, yeah, that's the story of a huge portion of Gen Z believers, a lot of people in the recent uptick of Christians. You know, Charlie Kirk's assassination played a big role in that. I thought it was interesting in the context of, like, you know, the moving into the end times sort of one world religion thing. Becoming a Christian or getting back to Christianity or back to the Bible because of the Charlie Kirk assassination, and then the NASA administrator applying that to, hey, I've been to space. It's impossible to not be spiritual when it comes to space and NASA and just the globe Earth. And, you know, the whole thing. It's sort of forming again amongst the backdrop of the increase in people becoming Christian, amongst the backdrop of the alien Nephilim agenda, amongst the backdrop of the World War III Armageddon storyline, amongst the backdrop of all these things. It's kind of fusing this or establishing this sort of narrative spiritual path that points even or integrates rather all these different aspects of, you know, the potential end times NWO sort of spirituality or religion. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's almost providing the logical thread for especially all the world religions to come under one umbrella, so to speak. And this has been something that, you know, we've been tracking this and sort of looking at it from that perspective for a while. As far as the Christian worldview goes, we know, you know, people like Tom Horn, the late Tom Horn, the late Chris Putnam, those guys published the book on how the Vatican has been talking about the alien thing for a few decades. They got the Lucifer satellite, or telescope, which they changed the name to after, you know, people started figuring out, like, why Vatican, why are you, first of all, why do you own a telescope in Arizona or whatever, and why did you name it Lucifer? And the conversations about the Pope saying, hey, we're going to baptize aliens, and hey, you know, they're part of God's creation too, and that kind of stuff. And then the Jewish or Judaism side of things, especially from the more mystical Kabbalah branch, we've documented over the years how certain rabbis have suggested that, hey, the Jews, the Jews are the actual aliens. We are the ones who have been called to bring enlightenment to the world, and soon everybody will understand, you know, that. So they have their own setup for it, and especially since they're waiting for the Mashiach, you know, Mashiach being an alien kind of helps in terms of superseding any kind of other barriers that exist currently between world religions. Of course, Islam falls into a similar type of category. You know, there's not a whole lot, as far as I understand, there's not a whole lot of stuff about aliens per se spoken about, but there are more contemporary Muslims that are doing a similar type of research thing with, as Christians are. You know, they have the Jal and they have different things that has some kind of explanatory power when it comes to the topic. Then you have your New Agers who we just played the clip from what's his name? Dr. Greer, Stephen Greer. And Stephen Greer is a guy, I don't know if he's still on this kick, but he's definitely a guy who pushed a new agey narrative about the aliens. And in fact, all the people that have passed away for some reason, Tom Horn, Dr. Michael Heiser, Chris Putnam, they have all written things or have said things about Stephen Greer, which were not very favorable. Basil, they were like, I think Dr. Michael Heiser called Dr. Stephen Greer a charlatan. So that's the kind of thought that he had about the whole Stephen Greer thing, because Stephen Greer has he's pushed this spirituality that, hey, the aliens are here to help us, and that's the part that I don't know we got from the clip we played earlier. But his whole thing is, they're going to stage the alien invasion to put us under totalitarian government and all this kind of stuff. So because the real aliens are benevolent, they're here to love us and save us and help us, but it's the evil people, the evil humans, and the pride and the corrupt humans that are using the alien narrative to sort of try to control everybody and all that. And in fact, I think if you go to, forget the 5EC, I think is the name of Stephen Greer's group or something. He had been charging over the years, a good amount of money to go out to certain locations, and they meditate. And he claimed that he can summon UFOs. And so people have had these experiences, and there's like video footage of like, we're going to meditate on this beach now. And, oh, look, there's a light ball over there. And, people freak out because, hey, Stephen Greer just summoned a UFO. And so those are the kinds of things that Stephen Greer has been involved in over the years. So, but I do find it interesting, because he is right in that when there is this higher threat, and this goes back to the Reagan quote, I believe, and even before that, somebody, I forget which president it was, that talked about, should we have a foreign threat, we would all come together and we would all, unite under a foreign enemy or common enemy, I think was the phrase. So, it seems to be something tangible. It's almost like, we're close. If we want to, we can push that button and we can do the whole blue beam thing. We can roll out the aliens. We've already done plenty of genetic testing over the years to create some people walking around that may look like aliens or hybrids or something like that. Which actually brings me to one of the last stories that I wanted to cover, Basil. Time?
Real quick before we go into it, I do want to bring all of our attention to a new website, and I put the link in just before our last story here. Remember Palm Beach Pete, the Epstein guy?
Yes.
PalmBeachPete.shop just opened, and he just pitched
Why are we giving this guy clout? Like, why? He's got logos.
He is capitalizing on his Epstein lookalike-ism by opening a merch shop for PalmBeachPete.shop. You can get these very classy baseball hats or mugs or a candle or a visor that simply say Palm Beach Pete on them. So you're trying to get on it.
What would be the thing that really takes the hunt off the trail? Like what could I do to make it seem like I'm just another guy? A merch shop. That's right. That's a great way to do it. And make a couple bucks off the poor people that, just really get the supporters to support me.
Yeah, it's hidden in plain sight. It's a very Masonic way to do it.
Yeah. What do you think? Palm Beach Pete or Paranoid Pentagon Pete? Which Pete are you into more, Basil? Which Pete do you like better?
Que no los dos. Why not both, Gons?
Paranoid Pentagon Pete and Palm Beach Pete.
You know what's interesting? Mm-hmm. So the Iran war started on February 28th, 2026. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it is April Fool's Day, the day we launched Artemis. Today is the 33rd day since the beginning of the Iran war.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's all coming together. It's almost like they launched the war so that April Fool's falls on.
There's the blood sacrifice for the launching of Artemis 2.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Wow.
The ritual is complete. The shedding of blood for 33 days before launching Artemis 2 into the sky. So yeah, pretty weird. Okay, what else you got? You got one last story for us?
Well, let me just. Yeah, we do have another story. It kind of connects to the whole genetic engineering type of thing too. But I'm just looking. Oh, good. The CGI of the capsule. That's real convincing, guys. Good job.
Yeah, we don't have cameras out that far, Guns.
What? Don't they have cameras on the craft?
Apparently not. They've not shown any.
Well, they had some while the boosters were falling off.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. They don't have cameras 30 feet from the craft floating on an alien orb.
It doesn't have to be 30 feet from the craft. I mean, that would give away the whole UFO. Would they bust out those drones, man? Mm-hmm. Where are the drones?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm a little disappointed with the cinematography of this whole production here. Okay. So the as if things weren't weird enough, Basil, there's one more story that I want to bring to you.
It is standard procedure for all new clones to be given tests. Clones. What about the other clones?
Clones. This is coming from MIT Technology Review under the Biotechnology and Health section. The headline is Inside the Stealthy Startup That Pitched Brainless Human Clones. The ultimate plan to live forever is a brand new body. That's right. Yeah, that's kind of what Jesus and the Bible promises us, but I don't think it's the same method to get these brand new bodies. This is what the article says here. It's a little bit longer, but I think it's worth it. There's some parts in here that I think are worth highlighting. After operating in secrecy for years, a startup company called R3 Bio in Richmond, California, suddenly shared details about its work last week, saying it has raised money to create non-sentient monkey organ sacs as an alternative to animal testing. In an interview with Wired, R3 listed 3 investors: billionaire Tim Draper, which, by the way, have you looked at Tim Draper's eyebrows, Basil? Look up Tim Draper eyebrows while we're sitting here. Just look up Tim Draper eyebrows. The next investor, the Singapore-based fund Immortal Dragons. It's already a great name, Immortal Dragons. And life extension investors Long Game Ventures. They're in it for the long. They're in it for the long game. No short games here. But there's more to the story, and R3 doesn't want that story told. MIT Technology Review discovered that the stealth startup's founder, John Schlorndorn, also pitched a startling medically graphic and ethically charged vision for what he called brainless clones to serve the role of backup human bodies. Imagine it like this: a baby version of yourself with only enough of a brain structure to be alive in case you ever needed a new kidney or liver. Or alternatively, he has speculated, you might one day get your brain placed into a younger clone. That could be a way to gain a second lifespan through a still hypothetical procedure known as a body transplant. Yeah, just move the brain right into that new body there. The fuller context of R3's proposals, as well as activities of another stealth startup with related goals, have not previously been reported. They've been kept secret by a circle of extreme life extension proponents who fear that their plans for immortality could be derailed by clickbait headlines and public backlash. I like how MIT is playing the role of like Robin Hood or something, like some vigilante that's exposing the corrupt circle of extreme life extension proponents, because ironically enough, they are blasting this whole agenda in a news article or report, and in it they're suggesting, oh, my microphone's starting to go out. In it they're suggesting that the clickbait headlines will create public backlash on this whole agenda for life extension. And that's because the idea can sound like something straight from a creepy science fiction film. One person who heard R3's clone presentation and spoke on the condition of anonymity was left reeling by its implications and shaken by Schlorndorn's enthusiastic delivery. The briefing, this person said, was like a, quote, close encounter of the third kind with, quote, Dr. Strangelove. A key inspiration for Schlorndorn is a birth defect in which children are born missing most of their cortical hemispheres. He's shown people medical scans of these kids' nearly empty skulls as evidence that a body can live without much of a brain, which already, I think, indicates the spirit behind something like this. You know, it's not, hey, let's help these people that suffer from this thing, these health defects, maybe help them either grow a brain or something. I don't know, something a little more ethical to help these people out. But no, this guy's like, look, these bodies can live with not that much brains. Good idea.
Yeah, it's gruesome.
And he's talked about how to grow a clone. Since artificial wombs don't exist yet, brainless bodies can't be grown in a lab. So he said the first batch of brainless clones would have to be carried by women paid to do the job. In the future, though, one brainless clone could give birth to another. Hey. Last Monday, the same day it announced itself to the world in Wired, R3 sent us a sweeping disavowal of our findings. It said Schlondorn, quote, never made any statement regarding hypothetical non-sentient human clones that would be carried by surrogates, end quote. The most overarching of these challenges was its insistence that, quote, any allegations of intent or conspiracy to create human clones or humans with brain damage are categorically false, which is interesting because, yes, human clones, but are they really clones if they lack a brain? And then, humans with brain damage, the claim isn't that they're trying to make humans with brain damage. They just want to grow, human body sacks without brains. But even Schlondorn and his co-founder, Alice Gilman, can't seem to keep away from the topic. Just last September, the pair presented at Abundance Longevity, a $70,000 per ticket event in Boston. A salary of like a Midwestern family to go to this Abundance Longevity where this guy is showing you pictures of brainless kids so he can convince you to give him more money to grow brainless human bodies. Per ticket in Boston, organized by the anti-Asian promoter Peter Diamandis. Now, Peter Diamandis pops up a lot in transhumanist conversations and also space exploration conversations. He was friends with Ray Kurzweil, or still is maybe, and he's one of these guys raising a lot of capital for this type of experimentation and progress. Although the presentation to about 40 people was not recorded and was meant to be confidential, a copy of the agenda for the event shows that Schlondorn was there to outline his, quote, final bid to defeat aging in a session called, quote, full body replacement. According to a person who was there, both animal research and personal clones for spare organs were discussed. During the presentation, Gilman and Schlondorn even stood in front of an image of a cloning needle. Pressed on whether this was a talk about brainless clones, Gilman told us that while R3's current business is replacing animal models, quote, the team reserves the right to hold hypothetical futuristic discussions. Okay, we hold the right to discuss these dystopic, terrible ethical things. MIT Technology Review found no evidence that R3 had cloned anyone or even any animal bigger than a rodent. What we did find were documents, additional meeting agendas, and other source outlining a technical roadmap for what R3 called, quote, body replacement cloning in a 2023 letter to supporters. The roadmap involved improvements to the cloning process and genetic wiring diagrams for how to create animals without complete brains. The main purpose of the fundraising, investors say, was to support efforts to try these techniques in monkeys from a base in the Caribbean. That offered a path to a nearer-term business plan for more ethical medical experiments and toxicology testing if the company could develop what it calls now monkey, or what now calls monkey, quote, organ sacs. However, this would clearly inform any this work would clearly inform any possible human version. It's so weird how it's like, hey, we're going to do this thing in the Caribbean and be a little unethical, but if we can just get past that, we could do the more ethical experimentations for the public. It's just such a crazy, I think it's just a glimpse into the whole medical industrial complex and, what was going on or has been going on. Though he holds a PhD, Schlondorn is a biotech outsider who has published little and is best known for having once outfitted a DIY lab in his Bay Area garage. Still, his ties to the experimental fringe of longevity science have earned him a network in Silicon Valley and allies at a risk-taking U.S. health innovation agency, ARPA-H. ARPA-H, Basil, like DARPA, but it's ARPA. It's the same concept. It's a government agency. Together with his success at raising money from investors, this signals that the brainless clone concept should be taken seriously by a wider community of scientists, doctors, and ethicists some of whom expressed grave concerns. Quote, "It sounds crazy in my opinion," said Jose Sabelli, a researcher at Michigan State University, after MIT Technology Review described R3's brainless clone idea to him. Quote, "How do you demonstrate safety? What is safety when you're trying to create an abnormal human?" 25 years ago, Sabelli was among the first scientists to try to clone human embryos, but he was trying to obtain matched stem cells, not make a baby. Quote, "There's no limit to human imagination and ways to make money, but there have to be boundaries," he said. Quote, "And this is the boundary of making a human being who is not a human being." Interesting. The invocation of human imagination, of course, the Tower of Babel. God had to mix the languages up because it was human imagination that caused men to just continually do evil and even believe that they can dethrone God himself and reach the heavenly realms. It goes into the feasibility research, talks about Dolly the sheep. You might have been pretty young, Basil, when Dolly the sheep happened, but I think I was in junior high, about to go into high school. I remember our teachers talking about it, like, "Oh, they cloned a sheep. They cloned a sheep." It's kind of a big deal for us kids, 12, 13 coming of age. It says here, brainless clones flip the script. That's because the ultimate aim is to create not a healthy person, but an unconscious body that would probably need life support, like a feeding tube, to stay alive. Because this body would share the DNA of the person being copied, its organs would be near perfect immunological match. Backers of this broad concept argue that a non-sentient body would be ethically acceptable to harvest organs from. Some also believe that swapping in fresh young body parts, known as replacement, is the likeliest path to life extension, since so far no drug can reverse aging. And then there's the idea of a complete body transplant. Quote, "Certainly for the cryonics patients," they had talked about cryonics, being one form of preservation and longevity, freezing your body or freezing your head or your brain. "Certainly for cryonics patients, that sounds like something really promising," says Anders Sandberg. Do you remember Anders Sandberg, Basil? Don't? Oh, man. A prominent Swedish transhumanist and expert in the ethics of future technologies. He's the guy that was quoted a bunch for the 2045 agenda. Do you remember 2045? There was that whole diagram of like, hey, we're going to do this by the 2030s. And then, eventually we're going to have a digital avatar. We're going to upload our minds to the computer and we're going to live forever. It's a Swedish transhumanist guy. That's him. They're quoting Anders Sandberg, and look, they even have the word transhumanist in there. So, this is MIT kind of, doing their legwork. He notes that many people who opt to be stored in cryonic chambers after death choose the less expensive head-only option. So there might be a market for having an extra cloned body. Anders Sandberg was always a little bit off the cuff. Like he was, offensive in this way. He was, of course, not a believer in God or anything like that. He's trying to live forever in the terms of the fallen world. But, it's just his logic, man. It's like, actually, a lot of these cryogenic people, they chose the cheaper option of head only, freezing just your brain and your head. So there might be a market for cloned bodies. I mean, we've lost our minds, Basil. They've literally just taken the brains right out of us. MIT Technology Review first approached Schlondorn 2 years ago after learning he'd led a confidential online seminar called the Body Replacement Mini Conference, in which he presented, quote, recent lab progress towards making replacement bodies. According to a copy of the agenda, the 2023 session also included a presentation by a cloning expert, Young Ge Chung. Sorry. I'm Asian, folks. I could be racist. And there was another from Gene Hebert, who was then a professor at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine and is now a program manager at ARPA-H, where he oversees the project to use stem cells to restore damaged brain tissue. Herbert popularized the so-called replacement solution to avoid death in a 2020 book called Replacing Aging. Sounds so nice, replacing aging. And then you read the book and it's like, we need to grow human bodies and replace them with our own brains. In an interview prior to joining the government in 2024, Herbert described an informal but very collaborative relationship with Schlondorn. The overall idea was to stop aging One of them would determine how to repair a brain, while the other would figure out how to create a body without one. It's a perfect match, right? Body brain, Herbert told MIT Technology Review at the time. Oh, man. Okay, it goes into some of the Schlorndorn's work there, some LinkedIn messages, yada, yada, yada. Let me see if I can skip down to some parts here. A complete body transplant, meanwhile, would probably be fatal, at least with current techniques. In the latest tests of the concept published last July, Russian surgeons removed a pig's head and then sewed it back on. The animal did not live, breathing weakly and lapping water from a syringe. But because its spinal cord had been cut, it was otherwise totally paralyzed. As yet, there's no proven method to rejoin a severed spinal cord. In an act of mercy, the doctors ended the pig's life after about 12 hours. Even some of R3's investors say the endeavor is a risky, low-odds project on par with colonizing Mars. Boyang Wang, head of Immortal Dragons, sounds like a band, Boyan Wang from Immortal Dragons, has spoken at longevity conferences about body-swapping technology, referring to the chance that, quote, when the time comes, you can transplant your brain into a new body. Wang confirmed in a January Zoom call that he'd been referring to R3 and that he'd invested $500,000 in the company during a 2024 fundraising round. And we're just in the wrong business, Basil. You know, we would never be able to raise $500,000 for podcasting. We gotta just raise money for, you know, some grotesque stuff, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type of stuff, or Island of Dr. Monroe. But since making his investment, Wang says he's become less bullish. He now views whole body transplant as, quote, very infeasible, not very scientific, and, quote, far away from hope for any realistic application. Still, he says the investment in R3 fits with his philosophy of making unorthodox bets that could be breakthroughs against aging. Quote, what can really move the needle, he asks, because time is running out. Why is time running out? It's like the Satan knows his time is short. Goes into stealth mode. It talks about the cloning industry and some of the synthetic embryos and organoids and genetically engineered pigs and stuff that we've covered over the years here. Let me see if I can get to a spot that I have some highlights.
Is there more?
Yeah, well, I told you it was long, buddy. I told you it was long. But
I don't know why we're going so long here. I get it. They want to make cloned bodies.
Yeah, I know, but it's just good. It's just good. That's arguably why body replacement technology feels risky, as we get it. Quote, I think it's exciting or interesting from a scientific perspective, but I think the world is not fully ready for it yet, says Emil Kendizora, CEO of Tomorrow Bio, a company in Berlin that stores bodies at negative 196 degrees Celsius in the hope that they can be restored in the future. They talk about this thing called vitalism. I think we'll get into that a little bit more over time here. At least that was the conclusion of a roadmap for anti-aging technology produced by vitalist groups. They're trying to raise money to do this. Okay, so here's the last kind of parts, Basil, that I wanted to touch on. Its report cited the existence of two stealth companies working on cloning whole non-sentient bodies, although it took care not to name them. So it's talking about these different groups that are out there, but they didn't name these companies that are actually building this. If these companies' activities became public, quote, there will be a huge backlash. People will hate it, end quote. The entrepreneur Chris Borer said while presenting the roadmap at a French resort last August, quote, there are a ton of dystopian movies and novels about this kind of stuff. That's why I didn't think about any of the companies. I didn't talk about any of the companies working on it. They are trying to hide from public attention, he said. Quote, we have to have the angel investors and other people invest kind of in secret until things are ready. I mean, they're basically admitting to a conspiracy here, or a collusion, to keep this secret until it's ready to go public. Borer did say what he sees as the best way to go public. Okay, this is how they think they should roll this stuff out. Okay, first, to slowly ease body replacement into society's awareness by disclosing more limited aims, which will be palpable. Quote, we're not going to start with let's clone you and give you a body. We're going to start with let's solve the organ shortage, he said. Eventually, people will warm up to it, and then we can go to the more hardcore stuff. In an interview, board declined to name the companies, but we did identify one additional stealth startup. This one focused on replacing a person's internal organs, not the whole body, called Kind Biotechnology. It's in New Hampshire, and he's been a collaborator with Schlondorn. And, they mentioned CRISPR and stuff. So I think it's interesting, Basil, that they are MIT is pretty much calling out these companies. Oh, yeah, there's Peter Thiel as well that invested in one of these companies that's trying to do this $1.5 million. Immune Path, a company started by Schlondorn. So there's a Peter Thiel connection, although I guess that company went defunct. And so we know the billionaires have been wanting to do this type of thing for a long time. We know that they've been investing in this type of research. But I do find it fascinating that they're publishing, MIT is publishing the agenda. It's like, hey, we have the shortage of organs for people for organ replacements. So let's solve that first before we go on to the, more, I guess, gruesome things, as he said. And then talk about, if you recall, Basil, Putin and Xi Jinping discussing living for a long time. The mic was hot. And they're talking about living to 150 years and the technology can help them live forever and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just keep going on and on. This is a very long article. I'll end with this. They end with the Sandberg thing. Back to Anders Sandberg agrees that is where things could start to get tricky when it comes to convincing women to carry the fetuses of these abnormal things. Quote, the problem here, of course, he says, is that the yuck factor is magnificent. The self-awareness of Anders Sanders thinking that the yuck factor of growing non-brained human clones for organ harvesting and then eventually replacing the human body entirely is grotesque. So there you go, Basil. The clones are here.
It's interesting because there's so much research on all these various fancy ways that they're going to live forever. You can go from uploading consciousness to robots to this to peptides to Brian Johnson to DMT to whatever. Yeah. And those are all the ones that are like cool to talk about in the media. Like, whoa, these are amazing. Yeah. And I
want to participate.
Everything. Mm-hmm. But just below the surface, there's still the project of like, look, none of that's going to work. We got to do the real nasty stuff. Like, this is what it really takes. We'll keep everybody distracted with the peptides and the DMT and the nutrients and the this and the that. But this is like, Brian Johnson level is like one thing. Like, I'm going to take whatever drugs or chemicals or eat healthy to live forever. What this is like the Rothschilds, like lizard people, like ancient bloodline billionaires. They're like, no, we're gonna need to clone extra bodies for ourselves to do this the nasty way.
There you go. I mean, hey, okay. Well, I think it is interesting that the biblical narrative, the promise, the hope does surround new bodies, eternal bodies.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's often overlooked when people try to find maybe more savory or more quote unquote spiritual or more, the separation between the spirit and the body of the Gnostic heresy, where our human bodies are evil and we can't wait to get rid of them. But the Christian faith is an embodied faith. It's a material, physical. Jesus came in a physical body. The whole thing would fall apart if you did not actually come spend time in a human body. We're promised new actual bodies. We're not promised, ghost forms. We're not promised this sort of ethereal promise. We're promised bodies. I mean, this is a very Christianity without the embodiment is a Christianity without Jesus, without the promise of eternity. That's very clearly biblical. So, on the flip side, the darker side, the evil side of that You've got the elites, the demons of this world, knowing that they got to figure out bodies or else it doesn't work. It's the whole reason for genetic, tampering. It's the whole reason for hybrids. Is the physical body is very important spiritually. It's not outside of that. So
yeah, go read 1 Corinthians 15 for anybody who may be new to this idea, or maybe just revisit it and really look at what it says in that chapter. That's the whole chapter that discusses the resurrection of the dead, the resurrected body. And I think Paul, you go into it and you can see the importance of the actual physical body as part of the redemption, the entire redemption. So yeah, in the context, I'm kind of glad that salvation and the resurrection and the restoration is sort of a God thing, and not Slorndorn or whoever, trying to grow human meat sacks to do it. It's a good thing that God has got this handled for those who believe in him, because otherwise your alternative is like some scientist doing like creepy things with in a lab,
Yeah.
So
well, there you go, folks. Thanks for tuning in. I think we should take a second and thank some of our value for value producers keeping this show alive so we can keep digging into these things. We have some producers who went to canarycry.support to support the show financially. They came in under the executive producer amount. If you support the show for $7.77 or more, you're entitled to have a note read on the show. But it's also Wednesday. We'll be thanking our people under $7.77. We've got a handful of people making this show happen, guys. I want to thank them. How about you?
I would love to.
Okay.
So make the show go round.
We've got producer Rebecca T coming in again for 5432, 5432.
Hey, there it is. Appreciate it.
It's perfect. And she's on an 11 episode streak as well.
Ooh.
So 543211. Perfect for an alleged rocket launch countdown there. Thank you, Rebecca T.
Thank you.
We had producer Julie S. come in, produce the show for a nice round number and a note that says, blessings to all this Holy Week. Thank you for praying for us across the pond. We surely need it. And God bless you, Julie S., one of our UK producers. We have producer, Sir Jacob Highline Haas comes in. He came in twice, one for 1777 and one for 1767. And he came in with two notes. One says, where reason cannot wade, their faith may swim, from Thomas Watson. And a second note that says, Basil, thank you for your diligence. Yes, the Kansas City meetup is in April 25th. If you notice, these producerships equal 33 plus fees. Lord's blessings this day and always. Thank you very much, Sir Jacob Highline Haas.
Yeah, appreciate it.
And a good reminder for any producers in the Kansas City area, April 25th, Sir Jacob Highline Haas and another producer are holding a meetup. It's very easy on the 25th of April. Let me just
put that in there.
The details. Yeah, let me grab the location here. Let me go here. I put it in the email today. So if anybody is not on the email list, go to canarycry.party. You can sign up for the newsletter there. Kansas City, April 25th, meet at Kelly's Westport Inn at 12:45 p.m. Look for two guys wearing CCNT shirts. So the meetup will start at Kelly's Westport Inn. And then later in the day, you have an option to attend with the other Canarians to go to the Demon Slayer concert later that evening. No need to RSVP, he says. Just show up to Kelly's Westport Inn at 12:45. Look for the guys in the CCNT shirts. Thank you, Sir Jacob.
Right.
We have producer Bruce W coming in for 1111.
Bruce W 1111.
Thank you very much, Bruce W. No note there, but appreciate you on the list. And of course, a reminder, go now, go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. Get your Cage Rattler coffee here. You want to play a jingle?
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
Yeah, I wasn't quite ready for that one, but yeah. Yeah. Thank you for the
And we've got some producers who are on streaks here. They're coming in under the $7.77 amount. Of course, we've got Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman on a 202 episode streak.
Isn't it Dame Tinfoil
yes,
Hat Keeper of the Seeds?
It is. That's true. Dame. Let me change this on my thing.
She's been upgraded.
Dame Tinfoil Hat Keeper of the Seeds. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. We got Veronica D on a 567 episode streak.
Veronica D, thank you.
Veronica D, keeping it going. We got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, on a 612 episode streak.
Sir Scott, thank you.
And we've got Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 617 episode streak.
Sir Casey the Shield Knight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
All of our producers coming in, supporting the show, making it happen. We didn't have any art producers for today, but if there's anybody out there, even somebody who wants to get D-Mooch to get a chance to win a free supply drop, a full quarter of the supply drop from the Toph challenge, D-Moochers, now's your time. You can create art, whatever that means to you. You can make a song or a jingle or whatever art means to you, and go to canarycry.art. That's where you can upload it there. We'd love to feature it on the show. And of course, we have people coming in helping us with their time. And I'd like to start out by thanking the timestampers.
Timestamp.
Timestamp. It's hard work. Timestamp.
Jade Bouncerson doing our timestamps for episode number 927. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jade Bouncerson. And of course, a big shout out to Jam, who heads up the Telegram channel, and Adam42, who heads up the Discord channel. If you are someone who wants to connect with other Canarians, go connect on the Telegram channel or the Discord channel. You can go to canarycry.party. Canarycry.party. You can see the invite links there. I made a mistake. I got a text from Sir Highline Haas. He says, Basil, please change the band name to Demon Hunter, not Demon Slayer in the email. Okay, so you're not seeing Demon Slayer, you're seeing Demon Hunter. I don't know if that was my mistake or if that showed up somewhere else. There you go. I don't know the difference between these bands or if Demon Slayer is even a band. But it's Demon Hunter.
I know the band Slayer is definitely not a Christian band, so
yeah,
they have songs like "South of Heaven" and
certainly not Team Slayer. I don't know. Demon Slayer sounds like it would be a band, but
it is.
Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter is a Christian hardcore band, I think.
Demon Hunter. Yes.
Demon Hunter. There you go. Let's see here. Who am I thanking? Thanking Joe for all your feedback. Thank you to Clank for all your clanking. And of course, Sir Ike for helping us out with so many important things. Couldn't do without you.
Yep,
Other than that, share the show, friends. It's April 1st. Play a very funny joke on all your friends and share this episode with them so they can get caught up on all the narrative shenanigans so they don't get caught unawares when the aliens attack the moon mission and suddenly they're just craving that government tyranny. Very, very funny joke. Share the show. We call it Rattling Cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to him, grab him by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Right, just ask Noah. Got any last words?
Whoa. All right, well, Passover begins tomorrow. Got Good Friday and Easter weekend. So yeah, I'll see you all after Easter. Resurrection Day.
On the way, folks. It's on the way. Stay expectant. There you go. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage. Oh, and a big shout out to Sir Richard, our new knight, the Canary Cry.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him on that horse. Do you see that? It's incredible.
Sir Sir Richard, Knight of the Fed, Flat Earth.
Armageddon's on the way.
They love killing. They love killing.
Toilets.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
Howdy, partner.
Do you even know? I mean, a beta is based on people, human living beings. That's kind of the idea behind live entertainment, because you can watch a video, you can listen to a music, Spotify or whatever.
Listen to a music every day.
But there's this spiritual problem where, for the purposes of the vampiric necro-capitalist system that we live in, the beast system requires that they never die, or when they do die, they are easily replaceable by technology. That's kind of the idea. So you can listen to a music, Spotify, whatever.
Listen to a music every day.
Human living beings. You can listen to a music, Spotify. Beast system requires that they never die. Technology. Technology. Human living beings. You can listen to music. Technology. That they never die. Spotify. Human living beings. Technology.
We will hunt you down and make you pay.
Let's invite some dudes over and fellowship tonight.
Toilets!
And above all things, effort and charity among yourselves, for Charity shall cover the multitude of sins.
Toilets!
You better wrap it up.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry.